Hello, everyone. I'm Jesus, and welcome to the next episode of The Road to Old School MTG. In this episode, I have just one package to open, 4 cards in this package, but they're pretty important cards, not particularly expensive or anything, but they will open up some possibilities for me, specifically for the X Points Old School format. I felt these cards are pretty important, pretty versatile, and I just wanted to have them available for me to create these decks and also the decks that I want to do. And I will, through Cockatrice, I will show the deck I created before I actually made the commitment to purchase the cards, just to see how they would be effective or not. And I like the deck. So I'll just show that process as well of how I created a deck without purchasing the cards, and then because I think that'd be pretty useful, especially in old school. A lot of these cards can be very expensive. You want to maybe test things out before making the commitment. Although, like I mentioned, these cards are not particularly super expensive, but still, nonetheless, they're not cheap either. All right, so I should have here 4 Stone Throwing Devil cards. For those that know, that card and a few others were not so long ago banned from official Wizards of the Coast tournaments. But for the old school format, from what I understand, there's no official tournaments for those formats in Wizards of the Coast anyway. Those are fan-run formats, and there's nothing close to it that's an official Wizards of the Coast sanctioned tournament. So those bannings didn't really affect it. These cards and also all of the banned cards are still very much being used. Some cards are more useful than others in terms of their playability. So some never ever got much use anyway. But these cards are useful, and because of the bannings, they spiked up in pricing. So once I saw these cards be for a reasonable price at $35 each in light play condition, in previous videos I was mentioning I was considering them, but they tend to go for like 50 and up, even for light play, right? So for this price, I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. And I had created some decks with that had these cards just to test it out, and now I made another one, and that put me over the edge in terms of me thinking about it to actually making the commitment to purchasing. I bought these cards through the old school Facebook marketplace, so you guys know I tend to like to show the postings or the ads or whatnot in terms of when I open a package, so you guys kind of see the whole process of me seeing what company I use, usually eBay, TCG Player, or Facebook, and just to give as much information as possible. But in this case, since it's a personal one-on-one deal, I will just explain the situation, just in terms of for privacy reasons. All right, so I should have 4 light play Stone Throwing Devil cards here. As I mentioned, I got it for $35 each. And then I paid a little bit extra for tracking and insurance. So $35 each, not cheap, but not expensive either, right? So $140 for the play set, and they should be in light play condition. All right, so why don't we start with that, just opening up the cards. All right. So I don't have a scissor handy, so I'm gonna have to brute force open this. But yep, I can see he put top loaders on it around here. So I'm just going to an area where I feel no resistance. It's gonna make a little hole so I can pry it open. So bubble mailer. There it is. Several top loaders. So I really appreciate that. So at least seems to be at least 2, actually 4. Each one is in a top loader. That's very nice. Bubble mailer. and then they'll, there's the first one. Yeah, just looking at it, yeah, it looks like light played, so seems accurate. But the seller did send me photos. The posting had, he didn't just post this particular card only, he had several cards, but out of what he was selling, that's what I was interested in. I checked his references, it checked out, and I was happy to continue forward with the transactions. All right, so a little hard to open, but I can understand wanting to secure things well. So like I mentioned, 4 for $35 each, that's pretty decent. Right before I made the leap to purchase it, I looked up on eBay again. I don't know if I looked up at TCG Player, but I looked up on eBay. Oh yeah, my mistake. TCG Player doesn't sell them at all, right? Because of its banned status. So I had to, and even on eBay, I think they kind of hide the name a little to get around the banning issue. All right. But I checked there just to confirm, like, if it was a good price. Definitely is 35 for those. All right, so all right, I see 4 of them. Looks good. Sorry for the glare. I got lights changed. Supposed to be helpful for that. Well, I guess it's an improvement, but it depends where you put it. When I play, I actually turn these lights off, and I put have monitor lights and a lamp on the side. All right, so each one came in its own top loader. Very nice touch. Oops. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, ooh, but each one is taped shut, but he actually put little flaps at the end, so it's easy to open up. And then each top loader then has a deck sleeve in the card itself. So yeah, this guy really, Ian, he really took the next step to giving a very nice positive transaction here, which I appreciate. I'll be giving him feedback, and I hope he gets some back to me. All right, so there they are, 4. Ooh, and then each one in addition has perfect fit sleeves. So I get to save on some of these sleeves because I put perfect fits in mine as well. So yeah, imagine each one in the top loader, each one in a card sleeve, and each one deck sleeve, and each one in a perfect fit sleeve. Very nice. Yep, totally legitimate. Yep. 2, 3, 4. And I'll save these for reuse. Sorry, the camera is not the best, but I think you guys can kind of in general, get a decent feel for the quality. So yeah, little nicks here and there. Well, maybe some of these I wouldn't call light played. Honestly, I'm not sure if he mentioned it as light played. From memory, I think he did. I would say 3 out of the 4 are. This one is particularly just banged up a little, but just minor. All in all, calling them in as a whole light played, I think it's accurate. Little fading at the bottom, but nothing major. Little nicks and scratches here and there, but nothing that stands out. This one's a little smudge, but you can only see it in certain angles. Yeah, you can kind of see there, right? But I mean, that's minor. Right there is invisible. There I can see it, right? So I'm sure I can wipe that off. yeah, I'm happy with these, and $35 each is very nice deal, right? So Arabian Nights, 1 black for a 1/1 first strike. That's very solid for black. Well, actually, in general, there aren't very 1/1 first strike creatures in Magic, especially in old school, for 1 mana. So I'm happy with the cards. All right, so that is correct. I'm happy with it. Now onto the Cockatrice program that I used. Okay, so I created this deck. This is the newest X Points mono black deck that I created. So I've been playing some X Points, and I've been using mono black exclusively now for that format. I might switch, but the other, like for the Neos, and actually just joined the Summer Derby. So there's many different formats, many different tournaments. For now, I'm keeping, for X Points, I'm kind of keeping it at black just for simplicity's sake. So I'm not like have so many things going on with so many different decks. At least that one I can know, okay, I'm always doing a mono black, or at least black heavy deck. So I'm trying to maximize that, trying to make that as efficient and powerful as I can make it, right? So this is what I've come up with in terms of the latest for a mono black deck. So this one, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a very cheap, fast deck, which that's a given for black. But I really wanted to delve deep, like go all in on that premise. I want to cast a quick Winter Orb. I might go 4. I was doing 4 for a bit, 4 Winter Orbs. But for now, I have it at 3, right? But honestly, Winter Orb is a very crucial card. I might just bump it still to 4, depending on once I play real games, right? These are, and I'll show some mock games using Cockatrice, right? But as helpful as this is, which is very helpful, nothing beats a real game, right? So this is in preparation for real games, right? So really, that's the ultimate bar that I have to meet, how this actually plays in an actual game. But for now, it seems promising. So almost everything is 1 and 2 mana. The only 3 mana that I have here, I believe, is the Hypnotic Specters, not counting the sideboard stuff. So things that are 1 mana. So black is very strong in the 2 mana area. So for 2 mana, I got 4 Black Knights, 4 Aura of the Ebon Hands, 3 Bad Moons, 3 Winter Orbs, 1 Chaos Orb, 3 Hymn to Thorax, 4 Sinkholes. All that is 2 mana, right? So what was that, like 20 cards? 4, 7, 10, 14, 18, 19, 20, 22. When I said 20, I thought I was overestimating, but I underestimated. It's actually 22. So the 2 mana bracket is filled to the brim. So I need to get a little of 1 mana and 3 mana to balance it out, especially with Dark Rituals, right? So I want to hopefully get a turn 1 Dark Ritual. The ideal play is turn 1 Swamp Dark Ritual into a Hypnotic Spectre, right? That's the best play you could do first turn. But if I don't get that, I have a lot of 2 mana, but I need some 1 mana stuff, right? So that's where the Stone Throwing Devils are coming in handy. So first turn Dark Ritual, now I can do first turn Black Knight and Stone Throwing Devils, first turn Order and Stone Throwing Devils, first turn Chaos Orb and Stone Throwing Devils, right? So, or first turn Bad Moon, Stone Throwing Devils, right? So just opened up more possibilities. Or first turn, 2-mana creature, Black Knights, Order the Ebon Hand, and then summon Holy Strands. If I go second, I could maybe first turn paralyze, depending on what they cast. Maybe they cast a bird, first turn bird, I would probably paralyze that. Right, or very easy in old school to get a first turn Serenity, first turn Earn first turn Juice right? So definitely Dark Rich when it's my turn, Dark Ritual into a creature, and then a paralyze is also pretty strong. So I just needed more 1-mana stuff to balance out that Dark Ritual. So Stone Throne Devils helped. I have in the 1-mana bracket, I have 3 Unholy Strands, 3 Paralyze. Of course, the Dark Rituals are 1 mana. The only thing that's 3 mana where I break out of that, out of the 1 and 2 mana bracket is for Hypnotic Spectres, and that's a given. That's probably the strongest card in the deck. That's the ideal first turn play, but of course that's just 4 cards. I'm lucky to get a first turn hippie, but then as soon as you do that, it has a target on its back. Is the number 1 creature that needs to be killed in this deck. So even if I cast it, it's most likely not lasting long, right? So, and depending on against the opponent, I might still, right? If I'm playing somebody against red, if they're playing white, I might still cast it first turn, right? Because the only thing for 1 mana is Source to Plowshares. If they don't have one in their opening hand, I might, he can still go through. But red, they got a whole bunch of first turn 3 damage spells, right? So I might, if I'm playing against an opponent that's playing red, I might play something else so they could lightning bolt that instead, and then play my Hypnotic Spectre a little later, right? So depends on the opponent, right? But more often than not, Hypnotic Spectre is the first turn play. So since I only have things mainly 1 and 2 mana, that Winter Orb wouldn't really affect me so badly. And then I have a Mox Jet for more ramp, 3 Mishra's Factories. So even though maybe they, this don't work super well with the Winter Orb, because they'll stay tapped, still nonetheless, the Mishra's Factories are also good in case I'm playing against white and they got Whirling Dervish, White Knight, right? So I have to have like a backup, because I felt that's when I got creamed playing mono black. If the deck goes on all cylinders, it's very solid, right? Right? In X points, which is a bit watered down, but on purpose, right? A format that's on purpose watered down to make it more competitive with more deck options available. Is even with that watered down, it's just, it's been there's a lot of creatures that are just so strong against black. That's why Mishra's Factories are in the deck. I felt it's just for both offense, but also defense. It's just a strong card to have in case a lot of these protection of black creatures appear. So that's good for that. Hymns, I had 4, but then I dropped it to 3 because right now here, if you know X points, you have certain cards are allotted certain point values, and X means 10, but X is variable. And right now, X means 10 points max that you can have in your deck between main and sideboard. Right now I'm at 9 points, so I could have added that extra Hymn to Torok or something else, but I just felt a lot of times, but there's a lot of fast decks in old school, so a lot of times that hymn was just either not doing anything. It usually does not do much later on in the game. It's very strong in the beginning, first few turns, but after that it can very easily be a dead card, or you just him for 1. Right, so it has diminishing returns, right? So I felt 4 was a bit too much. So for the X points, let's see. Mox Jet has 2 points, so that's 2. Nothing else here has points. Mishra's factories each have 1, so that's 2, 5. Hymns have 3, 8. The strip has 1 point, I believe, so that's 9. So that's 9. I could have added 1 more point, but I just, this way feels pretty strong. Swamps here, 1 Orberg, 1 strip mine, 3 Mishras, like I said. Right, and then for the sideboard, 2 Mace of Ifs, like I said, right? So not just the Mishras, but I might need even more protection against decks that have that protection from black. It's legit a killer. There's nothing here in black that could deal with that. The only thing I could do is just outpace my opponent, hit him for more. But the Mace of Ifs are nice because it's also kind of offensive also. So let's say, because maybe they get a creature protection from black, but then they just hold back. They don't attack. They keep it as a defender, right? That's a very effective defender because it'll never die to anything that I hit it with. That's black, right? Not counting the Mishras. But the Mace of If, I could attack with whoever I wanted, whoever that particular creature blocks, I could just untap my creature, my attacker, and it's out of combat. So, because I felt that also was something that happened, they would get a creature that's protection from black, but they wouldn't be offensive with it, right? If I was already had more cards in play, but they had that, they could just hold back, and then every time I attacked, I sacrificed the creature to it, basically. And then again, now I have 1 less. Next turn, I have 1 less. So my army goes smaller and smaller every time I would attack, because they would block the one that would be most beneficial, which usually killed my creature, save theirs. So I feel Mace is both very strong in this particular deck, defensive and offensive, right? So it gives me options. 3 Gloom, so this is now 3. So this is where going over in a higher bracket, mana bracket. So 3 Glooms, but they're just super strong against white. So 3 Black Vice, so this is strong against okay, so I believe the Black Vice is at the end of each. Right, so some of these I'm still have to double check. At the end of target opponent's upkeep, Black Vice deals that player 1 damage for each card in his or her hand in excess of 4, I believe, right? So in excess of 4 or below 4, I gotta double check on that. Right, but that either way, right? Depends. Some of these are good for if it's over 4, it's good against control. If it's under 3, which I think this one might be, it's good against aggro, right? So they very strong. They use all the cards in their hand, so this punishes them for it, if I'm not mistaken. Then I got 3 Meek Stones here. That's 1 mana artifact. Black White is also 1 mana, right? So that's keeps the mana low. Meek Stone 1 mana. So this any creature above 2 power doesn't untap during their untap step. So if they attack with something that's 3 or above, they only get 1 attack out of it unless they destroy the Meek Stone. So it's pretty strong. I got 2 relic barriers. That's so like I said, I have Winter Orbs. That's going to keep the lands tapped. But maybe they have, if I feel they have their deck is strong on other ways of creating mana through artifacts. I think the relic barriers would be helpful for that. It just costs 2, so it's pretty low casting cost, and then I can prevent them from having artifact mana. And then also Neverna Rolls this is 4 mana, plus it has 1 mana activation, right? So this is by far the most expensive in terms of mana card. And I was debating having actually one in the main board, right? But I'm keeping it for the sideboard because I'm basically going all out on this premise of 2 or less mana, not counting the Hypnotic Spectres. That's the only one I made an exception for because it's just so strong. But everything else is 1 or 2 mana. But never knows this, depending on what decks I'm going against. This is just a killer. This is a get out of jail free card. So it just, I felt it needed to be there. So I have 2 of them. All right. So nice thing about Cockatrice, right? So you can create a deck, of course, but then you can also play. So here I'm going to go ready to start. I'll be drawing my cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can also play online against people. I've done this before. So right, so you right, it's just this also leagues tournaments for online using not just Cockatrice, but there's other programs as well, right? So for those who want to play old school but don't want to commit any money to it, you can do it this way as well. All right, so this is my opening hand. So there we go. First turn hippie. That's really the only first turn I get. So I could do first turn sinkhole, but then I got 1 mana. Right? If I had a creep, I could do this also first turn, Dark Ritual to order, and then Unholy Strength. So I got a first turn 4/3 that I could give it first strike. So that's pretty strong. And pump it up. So first turn, so I'm assuming I go first. Tap Dark Ritual. I'm doing the most common thing here. Hypnotic Spectre, right? So opponent goes. Let's assume they kill it because they should. Next turn, untap. I draw Mishra. Unfortunately, I cannot do anything in this one because I don't have a second mana. So nothing here. Next turn. Ooh, still nothing, right? So this is where the Mishras are a little tricky. I can activate Mishra's attack, so that's something. So that's, I can still get that attack going in there. Draw. Ooh, Winter Orb. I might do it in this case since I'm like casting not that many things. Anyway, Winter Orb. Next turn. I only do 1 untap. Right, so in this one, unfortunately, I didn't get that. Imagine, I got 3 Unholy Strengths. I might drop the Unholy Strengths to 2. I was also considering that. I have 4 originally, then 3. Now, just to avoid this scenario where I got 3 of them, even 2 of them would have been too much, right? Because I don't have the second mana to cast another creature, right? So it's a deck card. So that one wasn't the best. Let's see. Concede. New game. Right, there we go. So once again, so here I do have a max jet, right? So that's something. I can still do turn 1 Hypnotic Spectre. So Mishra's, max jet, Dark Ritual, hippie. Let's assume it gets killed. Untap, draw. Okay, so I don't have another black. I would in this case strip mine one of their lands just to slow them down. Activate the Mishras, assuming they have no creature that would block it. Next turn. There we go. Now we're talking. I just need 2. I would probably sinkhole. But I could have also imagined my options now. Sinkhole, I could have Black Knight or either. So it depends, right? If it's red, maybe I do Black Knight. So it gets killed. There we go. Now, maybe this Hypnotic Spectre survives, right? And now I got another. So Chaos Orb, nice, right? So that one's good. And Chaos Orb is nice because that's the only way I can main deck kill like something that has protection from black. Right, so this second game was more of what I expect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, So I'm consistently only getting one black mana source. So I might have to play around with that. We'll see. All right, so this is a no duck ritual, so can't do much. Swamp. There we go, second swamp. Now we're talking. So either sinkhole or black knight. I would probably sinkhole to slow them down. So depending on what they had, maybe they have a creature I want to take down, paralyze it, then I could still drop another swamp and still cast a black knight. If nothing, then instead I would have either sinkhole or black knight and then done the Mishra, so that way Mishra's factory can attack next turn, right? Because it has, even though it's a land, once I activate it as a creature, it has summoning seconds. So it cannot attack first turn. It can block though. But if you blocked on during the first turn, it cannot pump itself because it still has summoning seconds. So you gotta watch out for that. I've definitely made mistakes with that. So let's say I do that. I decide to, they haven't cast anything big yet, sinkhole a land, and then I put the Mishra's factory on tap. 4 mana, that's it. I gotta play Winter Orb. So these two, Winter Orb, and Winter Orb becomes even stronger. The Paralyze becomes even stronger with the Winter Orb, right? So it's a lot of synergy there. And then I might Black Knight. All right, next turn, 1 on tap. Good. Now I'm getting more mana, so I can still sinkhole. Or it depends, right? Maybe they did cast a creature that I need to take care of, paralyze. That opens up my Black Knight to attack. Next turn, 1 on tap, draw. I can use these two to sinkhole. Maybe I keep this in reserve so that my opponent thinks I have something else in hand. I didn't put Drain Lives, right? For that card, I would normally just play all the swamps because it's to my benefit, so the Drain Lives are bigger, right? But since Winter Orb is a crucial component of the strategy for this game, I felt Drain Life didn't fit it. All right, so the first one didn't go good, but these other 3 are pretty solid. All right, so still though, I think I gotta trim down. So let's look at it. So maybe then maybe I can do like a live editing here now. 1, 2, well, 19. So I got 4. So 14, well, 15, counting the Orberg. The Orberg gives you black mana. It's basically a swamp. It just has special abilities. 15 black mana sources, 15 swamps basically. 4 non-black producing lands, and then 1 max jet. So 15 plus the max jet, basically 16 swamps. I was hopeful that would be enough because 19 plus the max jet is basically a land. That's 20 lands. I was hopeful that would be enough, but definitely even on the other, I know the first game was not good at all, but even the other games where it was good, I still felt I could have used an extra swamp. So let's do this now. So this is called what deck? Mono Black 4, I believe. All right, so this is for this screen right here that you see. This is for playing. So I'm going to exit. I'm going to go to deck editor, load deck. I believe that's Weenie. Let's see. Mono Black Weenie. Yep. So now this is the deck editor. So I'm going to take out an Unholy Strength. So let's see. Let's analyze. Chaos Orb, that was fine. Max Jet, 3 Winter Orbs, that's fine. Like I said, I might go up to 4. Black Knights, hippies, so that's fine. I haven't gotten a Stone Throwing Devils yet, actually, during the game. Bad Moons, I'm thinking about 4 maybe. I mean, actually it could go either way, either 4 or 2. Same thing with the Paralyze, honestly. But I think for now that's fine. The thing about Bad Moon, if I probably would, when I put in the Meek Stones, I would take up either the Bad Moons or maybe just keep only 1, because to pump it up once might still be good. greater than 2, right? So honestly, I might just have to swap all the bad moons out if I do the meek stones, because I don't want mine's black knights to be 3/3s, or else they won't untap. All right, so let's see the black vice. 1 damage for each card in his or her hand in excess of 4, right? So this is more for control. So, but I mean, I could have gone either way. So I believe the rack then is the one that any cards below 3, they get a point of damage. So it, honestly, it depends on the meta, right? So I decided to go for this one, but I might very well just switch it. Like I said, it's depending on the meta, I might switch these to the rack instead, or something similar. All right, so I have 59. I still have 1. I just got to see if Dark Rituals 4 is still fine. 3 Mishras. Right, so I'm still debating that, honestly. The strip mine. So I think the best bet is still just adding another swamp. 3 hymns. I didn't get a hymn yet. Yeah, for now, let's see just 1 more swamp. So save it. So that's a small tweak. But honestly, when your deck is super efficient, at least when you think it is, there's not much tweaking left to do, right? Unless you do go an entirely different route. All right, so the only edit I did is I took out an Unholy Strength, added another swamp. So now I got 20 swamps, 20 lands, and a Mox Jet. So 17 swamps, and then 4 extra non-black producing lands. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, you see? I think this is the first time I ever got 2 swamps in my opening hand. Was it? During this batch. Oh, perfect. Check this out. So it depends. If I go first, right? So I'm not drawing a card. Swamp, Dark Ritual, I can hymn, and 1 mana left, Stone Throne Devils. Perfect. Let's say I was second. So let's say I'm second now. So I drop a swamp. Dark Ritual, this doesn't change. What changes is what I do. I might Sinkhole instead and still Stone Throne Devils, right? So this is handy because without that Dark Ritual and then him, but I still have that 1 mana, right? So this just makes it more efficient for me to do something else. All right, so that worked out fine. Opponents down to 0 lands. Their turn to drop a land, does something, my next turn. So yeah, imagine. So first turn you Sinkhole and then you dropped a pretty strong creature. Second turn, hymn them. That's very strong. Or look, I got another Sinkhole. I could have, depending on what it is, if they were, actually I was gonna say if they were control, I might Sinkhole instead. Yeah, because the main thing is not having mana, right? Because their spells tend to be bigger spells. So if you deplete them of lands a lot, then they can't cast. So the hymns will still be efficient later on. But let's say I hymn instead. All right, next turn. So this is a great time for a Winter Orb, honestly, which I have here, and I got a Dark Ritual. So let's see. So I just dropped the Mishra's Factory, so I can attack this turn. And I haven't been using the Stone Throne Devils because I'm assuming they have something, maybe. Right, so let's see. Here, like, there's not much point in keeping Dark Ritual. So 3, 4. So I Sinkhole something and Winter Orb, right? So even though maybe they might have like 1 land only, still I'll, might as well just cast it because it won't really be affecting me. But maybe we'll see. Maybe that was the wrong play. Let's see what happens. So 1 on tap, draw. All right, so far it's not affecting me. Activate Mishra's, attack. All right, next turn, I untap the Mishra's, draw. Second Mishra's. In this case, I might drop the swamp. Activate Mishra's, attack. Next turn, untap, draw. Drop the Mishra's, activate attack. Next turn I might, in anticipation for the order. Ooh, nice. So this, then this also makes it, the stone throwing devils very strong. So that now it's a 3/2 first striker that can kill a lot of stuff. All right, so that one went pretty well. New game. Let's see if I can get more two swamps in an opening hand, or at least after my first draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Now I got too many swamps. I might. I would probably keep this. Okay, so I go first. Untap. Ooh, nice. So I will probably him them. Next turn, untap. Bad moon. I will cast a creature in anticipation of me bad mooning next turn. So Black Knight is a bit stronger initially. Next turn. I got too many swamps. So I'll tap everything. Winter Orb plus Bat Moon. So now it's a 3/3 first striker. Attack. Next turn, I only want untap. So let's say they killed it, right? Things die easily. I drew the Paralyze, that's strong with the Winter Orb swamp. So let's say they have something big. I paralyze it. But I can't do anything else. Next turn, one untap. Draw. Oop, there we go. Black Knight, it's a 3/3. Let's say they kill it. One untap, next turn. Strip mine, that's strong. That's strong with this Winter Orbs because it affects them even more. And then next turn, there it is, right? So it doesn't take much for me. If I get one untap and then I draw a land, I can cast almost anything in my hand. And if I can't, I just gotta wait one more turn. So the Winter Orb rarely affects me. It does definitely, but not so much. And I can get around it way more than most likely my opponent could. Well, so yeah, I've been drawing more lands with that just one. It could just be luck. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, this was a mulligan no matter what. Take a mulligan. Oh, there we go. So I will probably yeah, return, move to bottom of library. So I will keep this. Let's say I go first turn. Not much to do, so I wouldn't dark return to that Black Knight. Second turn, ooh, got another swamp. 2. Just cast the Black Knight. But yeah, surprisingly, that one swamp has made a drastic difference. But I'm sure it's luck also, right? But there's been 3 games straight where I've gotten 2 swamps in my opening hand. As before, I don't think it happened in any of those other games. So, who knows? All right. So I think that's a good idea of how to use for me to show how to use Cockatrice to create decks, to test things out before committing to purchasing, trying things out, and then pulling the trigger and buying things once you have your heart set on something. In this case, right? So I got my 4 Stone Throwing Devils. Now that I see them, actually, it's a little bit of bend. Actually, a bit more than just a little, but I think mainly just one of them. Yeah, these 3 are decent, not perfect, but still like play this one a bit more. But it can get fixed a little. Being in a perfect fit sleeve and then in the card's deck sleeve being stuck in the deck, that kind of helps a bit. But yeah, pretty happy with the cards things in. And now this opens up quite a bit of possibilities. And I really like this particular X Points old school deck that I created. Seems pretty strong, right? And now I made that update of adding 1 extra swamp, just making my opening draws a bit more consistent for 2 black. I need 2 black for this deck. Because then if I get a Strip Mine or Mishra's Factory, that's not a killer. I could still use it, in fact, to for the Hypnotic Specters. But I initially need 2 black right? Whether through Dark Ritual as well, but it's very crucial. So I think that extra swamp seemed to make a pretty drastic difference. So, and then that's the beauty of Cockatrice, right? Imagine it was a different card, a more expensive card that made that difference. Or maybe you just took one card that was pretty expensive out to swap in something else that's not so expensive in terms of actual, money value. That could have saved you a lot of money in terms of buying something that you thought you'd need it, but you didn't really need it, right? After playtesting. So, or even if it, you just to confirm what you thought, that's also helpful. And honestly, like from what you saw in the Cockatrice, these were the only cards I needed, like from that was not in my collection. So more often than not, I have like everything already. I've gotten a pretty decent collection, right? It's definitely for certain decks, right? So I can play some other decks. The ATOG deck I could, but I don't have the mana base, so I could go City of Brass and just swamps and mountains, right? But definitely those dual lands just make that deck a much stronger, which I don't have, right? So there's definitely certain ones that I, like either I might have to play a bit underpowered version or just not play it at all and skip it. But I definitely have a pretty decent enough collection that more often than not, I already have the cards I need. And sometimes I just need some very cheap cards. These were not cheap, but not super expensive either. Like 140 for the playset, not cheap, but not breaking the bank either. And then they want to mention one thing as well. So Cockatrice also, in that case, that final case I mentioned, I already have all these cards. Even if you have all the cards already, it's better to do it through this way because then, first of all, it saves the deck list information, right? So you can go back to it and continue to edit it. And you just save on the hassle of actually pulling out the physical cards and, maybe run the risk of damaging them if you're, right? Or you just want to minimize, playing them, except for real games, right? Or just, honestly, just the hassle. But in this case, I could have just proxied 4 cards for these because I had everything else. But it's honestly pretty helpful to do it through Cockatrice, even if you have all the cards. It's just very helpful, easy to edit, as you just saw, and it gives you a truer randomization, right? So, but like I said, like in real life, things clump after you play your first game. You might bunch all the lands together, and then even if you like shuffle a lot, so it's definitely different, the real experience as opposed to through a Cockatrice. But nonetheless, it's still super effective way. So super effective tool to use. So hopefully I've given you more information in terms of Cockatrice, also just more information in terms of ideas for your own X Points mono black deck, or just more information on X Points old school in general. So I'll leave it up to here for today. Thank you for watching.